My stepfather raised his champagne glass, smiled, looked directly at me, and said, "You're not my daughter." 65 people laughed. Actually laughed. Then he said something worse. "And tonight, we're finally making inheritance official." I was standing 10 feet away, holding a folded document inside my purse. A document worth more than everything he owned. 3 hours earlier, I was still planning to give him the greatest gift of his life. Funny how quickly love can become an audit. My name is Sophie. I'm 34. And this story starts with a folding chair. But we'll get there. Because first, you need to understand why a grown woman with a successful company still walked into a room full of people who spent 20 years reminding her she wasn't really family. The Oak Ridge Country Club smelled like expensive people. Prime rib. Old leather. Wine. Money. The ballroom overlooked the Connecticut shoreline. Crystal chandeliers everywhere. White tablecloths. Gold trim. The kind of place where nobody asks what you do. They ask what your father did. I walked inside carrying a small leather clutch. Inside? One folded document. One signature. One decision. One secret. Diane saw me first. My adoptive mother. Technically. She floated across the room wearing pearls and champagne-colored silk. "Sophie," she said while kissing air beside my face. "You made it. Happy birthday to Raymond." Her smile tightened slightly. "He's with the board members." Of course he was. Raymond loved wealthy audiences. Then she lowered her voice. "Oh. Spencer's already here." "Naturally. Spencer. My younger brother. The biological child. The real child. Or at least, that's how things worked in our house." Across the ballroom, Spencer lifted his whiskey glass toward me. Smirked. The same smirk from 6 days earlier. I didn't smile back. I simply touched the folded paper inside my purse. Still there. Still real. Still dangerous. 6 weeks earlier. Tuesday morning. 7 a.m. Everything was normal. Which should have worried me. Because disaster loves normal mornings. I unlocked Bright Frame Homes. My company. The company I built from nothing. We manufacture energy-efficient modular housing. That morning I signed contracts for 40 homes. 40 families. 40 roofs. 40 front doors. Success felt ordinary. Then my assistant dropped mail on desk. One envelope caught my attention. Heavy cream paper. Gold lettering. Handwritten. Sophie Albright. Not Sophie Fowler. Not the name I use now. They preferred older versions of me. Smaller versions. I opened envelope. Read invitation. Then read again. Raymond's 65th birthday celebration. Formal attire required. Oak Ridge Country Club. I stared for a long time. Because invitations are strange. Sometimes they're invitations. Sometimes they're reminders. I placed envelope face down. Returned to work. Couldn't focus. The invitation sat there all day. Like cold air leaking through cracks you thought were sealed years ago. And immediately, I started thinking about gifts. Because old habits survive longer than pain. Quick question. Have you ever worked harder for someone's love than they ever worked for yours? Because if you have, you already know where this story goes. I was adopted when I was 5. Back then, being chosen felt magical. Diane bought me yellow winter coat. Brushed my hair before church. Showed me off constantly. People called her generous. Brave. Wonderful. I heard same word repeatedly. Gift. I was Diane's gift. Proof she was good person. At 5 years old. I confused admiration with love. Children do that. For few years. Life felt normal. Then Diane got pregnant. Everything changed slowly. Which somehow hurts more. Photographs changed first. Then family outings. Then dinner table. 5 upholstered chairs. 1 folding metal chair. Guess which one became mine? Nobody announced it. Nobody explained. One evening Diane simply touched my shoulder. Sophie, you'll sit there. Why? It fits better. I was 8. So I sat. Birthday dinners. Christmas. Thanksgiving. Easter. Graduations. 10 years. Same folding chair. Funny thing about childhood. Small humiliations repeated enough times stop feeling small. Raymond was never openly cruel. That would have been easier. He specialized in absence. He sold insurance. Played golf. Watched television. Paid bills. That was fatherhood. At least with me. With Spencer? Different story. Baseball games. Fishing. Driving lessons. Warm voice. Patience. I told myself fathers were complicated. Then I turned 10. And accidentally learned truth. I came downstairs for water one night. Raymond sat watching sports with his brother. I heard my name. Stopped walking. His brother asked. So what's planned for Sophie's future? Raymond laughed. Not mean laugh. Worse. Careless laugh. Like discussing weather. She's Diane's project. Not mine. That's it. That sentence. 10 words. 10 words shaped next 24 years. I never forgot. Not once. At 18. Support ended. Completely. Spencer got tutors. Trips. College savings. I got graduation card with $40. And note. You've always been independent. Translation? You're on your own. So I left. 2 duffel bags. 1 used car. No safety net. No inheritance. No trust fund. Nothing. I started framing houses. Only woman on crew. Men laughed first week. Stopped laughing eventually. I learned blueprints. Electrical layouts. Load calculations. Foundation work. Then community college at night. Years passed. Slowly. Then quickly. Eventually I founded Bright Frame. Then survived. Then expanded. Then succeeded. Nobody from family asked much about business. But they accepted gifts. Always accepted gifts. New furnace when there's broke. Christmas baskets. Checks during rough years. Help with Spencer's tuition. Funny thing about insecure people. We mistake giving for belonging. I spent years trying to purchase seat at table. Nobody told me table was fake. Then invitation arrived. Then Brenda called. Brenda. Raymond's younger sister. Only person who treated me normally. Sophie, she said. They really want you there. I laughed. Why? Maybe people change. People always say that. Especially people who weren't hurt. Still, I considered. Because 8-year-old girls never completely disappear. They're always somewhere inside you. Waiting. Hoping. 3 days later. I visited family home. Diane said she needed help coordinating party logistics. The house looked identical. Perfect lawn. Perfect windows. Perfect pretending. Then I saw dining table. 5 upholstered chairs. 1 folding chair. Still there. Waiting. I'm 34 years old. CEO. Homeowner. Business owner. And somehow, my chair survived longer than my childhood. Spencer pulled it out dramatically. Your throne. Everyone laughed. Even Diane. Small laugh. But enough. Dinner continued. Conversation stayed about birthday party. Then Spencer said, Dad's speech is going to be historic. He smirked. You definitely don't want miss it. Something felt wrong. Very wrong. But I ignored feeling. Big mistake. The next morning changed everything. My phone buzzed. 7:15 a.m. Brenda. Her voice shaking. Sophie. I think you need see something. Then screenshot arrived. Family group chat. I read messages. Once. Twice. 3 times. Spencer. Is charity case actually coming LOL? Diane. She needs to be there. Complete family photos look better. Spencer. Just keep her away from inheritance talk. Then Raymond. My stepfather. The man celebrating 65 years. Don't worry. I'm making everything official during speech. Time everyone knows exactly where things stand. I placed phone on counter. Carefully. Very carefully. Because anger becomes dangerous when it gets quiet. And suddenly, everything became quiet. Very quiet. I looked toward my briefcase. Looked toward documents inside. And for first time, I stopped asking how to belong. Instead, I started asking different question. What happens when people mistake kindness for weakness? I didn't call Raymond. Didn't confront Diane. Didn't text Spencer. People expect explosions. Explosions are messy. I prefer architecture. You study the structure first. Then decide which beam to remove. The morning after the screenshots, I called my attorney. Then my broker. Then someone else. By lunchtime, I had started building something. Not revenge. Not exactly. Something bigger. For years Raymond had repeated same sentence. Constantly. At cookouts. Christmas. Golf outings. Sunday drives. When my ship comes in, I'm buying Willow Point. Willow Point. Everyone in our suburb knew the house. Stone mansion. Private shoreline. Iron gates. Boathouse. The kind of property wealthy people use to impress other wealthy people. As kids, Raymond drove us past it constantly. Slowly. Like proximity counted as ownership. He wanted that house more than anything. Not because he loved architecture. Or water. Or history. He wanted what it represented. Status. Validation. Proof. Funny. We were more alike than I wanted to admit. Both chasing proof. 2 days after the screenshot, I visited Willow Point. Gray skies. Cold water. Wind off the sound. The broker walked beside me. 11 acres. Private dock. Guest house. Stone pathways. I barely listened. Because suddenly, I wasn't seeing property. I was seeing childhood. Sunday drives. Folding chairs. Family photos without me. The broker finally asked. So, what are you thinking? I looked toward water. Then answered. I'll take it. You know what's strange? Buying a multi-million-dollar property feels less dramatic than people imagine. Mostly paperwork. Wire transfers. Signatures. Meetings. Verification calls. Very boring. Very expensive. The property transferred through my foundation. The Open Door Foundation. I started foundation years earlier. Quietly. We helped young adults leaving foster care. Kids turning 18 with nowhere go. Because I understood something about carrying your life in bags. I thought I knew exactly why I was buying Willow Point. I was wrong. 3 days later. Draft deed arrived. I sat alone kitchen table. Read names. Read numbers. Read property description. Then looked at transfer section. The document would place ownership directly into Raymond and Diane's names. Free. Clear. No mortgage. No debt. Nothing. I imagined birthday party. Everyone watching. Me handing Raymond document. Him finally introducing me differently. This is my daughter. I waited for good feeling. Didn't come. Instead. I remembered folding chair. I remembered dark hallway. She's Diane's project. I remembered every furnace repair. Every tuition check. Every Christmas basket. And suddenly, I felt tired. Very tired. Let me ask you something. Have you ever realized you were fighting for someone who had already decided your role years ago? Because that's the moment things changed for me. Not anger. Clarity. Clarity is much more dangerous. I called Brenda. We met diner halfway between towns. Coffee. Bad lighting. Burnt toast smell. I told her everything. The property. The plan. The birthday surprise. Brenda stared. Then asked. What exactly are you hoping happens? I answered immediately. I want him call me daughter. She looked heartbroken. Not surprised. Just heartbroken. Sophie. She reached across table. He won't. I stayed quiet. She continued. $10 million won't change who Raymond is. But. No. She squeezed my hand. You built yourself. Stop trying by people who never bothered building you. I drove home unsettled. Not convinced. But unsettled. Then came family dinner. And that changed everything. Diane invited me over. Just quick dinner before party. When I arrived, folding chair waited. Again. 34 years old. Still waiting. Still there. Nobody mentioned it. Nobody needed to. Spencer pulled chair outward dramatically. Your seat. Then laughed. Dinner continued. Wine poured. Conversation drifted toward birthday party. Then Spencer smiled. Dad's speech is going to be legendary. Diane immediately looked uncomfortable. Interesting. Very interesting. I went home. Opened laptop. Read screenshots again. Then stared at deed. Long time. Very long time. Then I picked up phone. Called attorney. Change everything. Silence. Then. Everything? Everything. Saturday morning. Birthday day. 8:30 a.m. Small notary office. Coffee stains. Old printer. Fluorescent lights. My attorney slid documents toward me. New deed. New ownership structure. Permanent. Irrevocable. I signed. One signature. Then another. Then final page. Notary stamped paper. Heavy sound. Thud. That sound felt important. At exactly 9:02 a.m. County recorded documents. Official. Permanent. Finished. I placed single copy inside purse. Folded carefully. Then drove toward country club. Back to ballroom. Back to chandeliers. Back to expensive perfume. Dinner passed slowly. Prime rib. Wine. Small talk. People asking. So what do you do again? I smiled. Construction. Most lost interest immediately. Good. At 8:30 p.m. Spencer stood. Tapped glass. Ladies and gentlemen. Speech started. Applause. Then Raymond walked stage. Tailored tuxedo. Big smile. He loved audiences. Tonight, he said. We celebrate family. Applause. We celebrate legacy. More applause. And we celebrate transparency. Something inside me became still. Very still. Raymond continued. Most of you know I believe in contracts. Golf friends laughed. He smiled. Then looked directly at me. And tonight. I think we should clear something up. Room quieted. We have family here. Pause. And we have. He smiled. Legal additions. Small laughter. My chest didn't hurt. Interesting. It should've. But didn't. Then came sentence. The sentence. Sophie has always been Diane's responsibility. Pause. Not mine. Some people shifted uncomfortably. Raymond kept going. And because inheritance conversations create confusion. He lifted glass. I officially removed Sophie from estate planning this morning. Silence. Then nervous laughter. Then complete silence. Everyone turned toward me. Waiting. They expected crying. Humiliation. Exit. Instead. I stood. I picked up purse. Walked toward stage. Heels clicking. Entire ballroom silent. Raymond smiled awkwardly. Probably expected emotional scene. I stepped beside him. Turned toward audience. Then spoke. You know. I smiled gently. Raymond is right. Confusion. We should discuss ownership. I removed folded paper. Unfolded slowly. Paper crackled loudly. For 30 years. I said. Everyone has heard Raymond talk about Willow Point. Instant attention. People recognized name immediately. Of course they did. I continued. The waterfront estate. The dream house. The property Raymond has wanted his entire life. Raymond stopped smiling. I looked at him. 6 weeks ago. I said softly. I bought it. Gasps. Actual gasps. Spencer stood immediately. What? Diane looked frozen. I continued. I bought Willow Point. Completely. I was planning give it to Raymond tonight. Entire room silent. Then Raymond whispered. You bought it? I nodded. Yes. His eyes filled with something ugly. Hope. Raw hope. Then I continued. But then I saw group chat screenshots. Nobody moved. So this morning, I lifted paper. I changed plans. I turned document outward. This deed no longer transfers property to Raymond and Diane. Pause. As of 9:02 this morning. I smiled. Willow Point officially belongs to my foundation. People stared. I continued. We're converting entire property into transitional housing for foster youth. Spencer exploded. You can't do that. I looked at him calmly. I already did. Then I turned toward Raymond. The room disappeared. Just him. Just me. You spent 30 years telling me I wasn't yours. Pause. So I finally stopped trying to be. His face looked older. Much older. Then quietly he asked. Why? I answered honestly. Because I realized something. I stepped closer. You can't remove someone from inheritance they were never part of. Silence. Then. And you can't use something you don't own to make yourself powerful. I folded paper. Placed back inside purse. Turned around. Walked off stage. Nobody stopped me. Nobody spoke. The giant birthday cake still sat there. Candles unlit. Completely forgotten. Outside. Cold air. Ocean smell. Brenda followed. Kiddo. She smiled. You okay? I looked back through glass doors. Raymond still standing stage. Holding microphone. Nobody listening anymore. For first time in my life. I didn't feel like girl from folding chair. I felt like person who built her own table. Yeah, I said quietly. I think I finally am. 3 months later. Construction started. Willow Point became housing campus. Study rooms. Bedrooms. Career center. Community kitchen. 28 young adults moved in first year. Funny thing. The house finally became family property. Just not Raymond's family. Mine. If you've ever experienced family betrayal, inheritance drama, toxic relatives, money manipulation, or being treated like outsider inside your own family, remember this. You do not need permission to matter. And you definitely don't need inheritance from people who never invested in your heart. And if you enjoy emotional revenge stories where the quiet person finally wins, subscribe to Revenge Echo. Because sometimes, the people sitting in folding chairs eventually own the building.
Thanking you for watching Revenge Echo channel. Like, subscribe and comment where you are watching from.